Donald Trump staffers have admitted to planting what is effectively propaganda news. Some call it fake news to counter Trump's Twitter meltdown. So the backstory is that Donald Trump regularly tweets absolutely insane stuff, insults, threats, unhinged political statements, conspiracy theories, all that sort of stuff to Twitter. And we found out that in the last few days of the presidential campaign, Trump basically had access to Twitter completely cut off. But we're now learning about what was the more ongoing strategy to prevent embarrassing Twitter meltdowns during the campaign, which obviously didn't work. 6 former campaign officials have gone public as how they tried to keep Trump's tweeting under control. They would try to keep his personal media consumption to mostly praise. When Trump would see a criticism of himself, that would often trigger the worst of his tweeting. So staffers would try to only put in front of him positive stories. When they couldn't find positive stories, they would try to plant positive stories by contacting right-wing media and trying to get friendly stories posted so then they could print those out and give them to Trump. Quote from a former communications director named Sam Nunberg: "If candidate Trump was upset about unfair coverage, it was productive to show him that he was getting fair coverage from outlets that were persuadable." Staffers benefited from the reality that Trump barely ever read anything online. They could actually limit Trump's news universe by printing out only positive news, which is absolutely amazing. And a lot of it was mitigation, which is they tried to line things up in media to counter a disastrous tweet. So remember, for example, when Trump went on Twitter and started slamming Gold Star father Khizr Khan, whose army captain's son died in combat. Trump started slamming Khizr Khan on Twitter. The Trump staffers set up a meeting for Trump with Gold Star mothers of Florida and then planted the story in conservative media to try to push back. Another example is when former Miss Universe Alicia Machado was calling out Trump for referring to her as Miss Piggy and Miss Housekeeping. The communications team scrambled to put a story in Fox News and the Washington Examiner and Breitbart that was a positive story about Trump's relationship to women or whatever. I actually think that the main story, which is a team had to try to manage Trump's Twitter use, that's not the main story. The revelation for me is that there were individuals who admitted that they were planting stories with right-wing media, which means they were in direct contact during the campaign in a way that suggests that they were heavily influencing coverage of Trump, which suggests to me, Pat, that they're probably still in contact now within the Trump White House. And that while Trump is calling any negative press fake news, the practical reality is that a lot of the Trump coverage you're seeing in right-wing news has maybe been planted there by Trump staffers themselves.
Well, that's certainly the new revelation from this. But what's more fascinating to me is that they have to find this roundabout solution to limiting Donald Trump's Twitter use. You think that, you know, this guy's on the precipice of being elected president of the United States. You can kind of just take that away from him, similar to President Obama's staff taking away his BlackBerry over
he had
privacy
been,
hacking concerns.
Wasn't he messaging with like Scarlett Johansson and stuff like that? And then the team said, you can't do it anymore. It's not secure.
I don't remember the specifics, but I mean, Donald Trump promised he would stop using Twitter once he became president. That's another broken campaign promise.
Yeah, it hasn't happened. If you're one of these staffers, why do you stay working for Trump, right? I mean, if your job is to micromanage him through childish tantrums on the internet, how do you justify staying on board? I guess Hillary's emails or something like that.